How we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? Ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned a while back, if you remember, I stated a while back that something new, something different, something exciting, something special was coming to Touchdown Alabama magazine. In my own words, guess what? We're live. You can finally, officially, put a face with the name as yours truly, Stephen Smith. I am live in studios. And despite the fact that Alabama did not practice on Monday of last week, head coach Nick Saban and the remainder of the program continued with the grind throughout the week of practice as it pushes toward its marquee matchup against those Tigers of Louisiana State University. Alabama coming off a dominating 58-21 win over the Tennessee Volunteers on last week at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. But before we get into the first topic of conversation, gotta let you in on a little bit of news. Alabama backup quarterback Jalen Hurts, A-OK. Ankle surgery went well. He did not practice on last week, but according to Nick Saban, Hurts will be full go on Monday to start this week of practice. Also, gotta let you in on this. If you are an Alabama Crimson Tide diehard football fan, you love this team, you cherish this team, you relish this team, you crave this team, this is your program, you are Bama through and through. You can't go 1 second without getting new information, hearing new information about your team, and you do not have the Touchdown Alabama magazine app? Oh, baby, you are missing out. You are doing yourself a great disservice, a great injustice. You got to get the app. I'm talking about the best in practice recap, game recaps, press conferences, player interviews, highlights. Our own Justin Smith is killing the game in recruiting. I'm going to put it to you like this. If you want all things Tide at the palm of your hands, and you want to go down as the insider in knowing all things Bama football, you got to pick up this app, Touchdown Alabama magazine. Be very glad, you will be very glad you did as you treat yourself accordingly. You can get this one of two ways. iPhone App Store for all my guys rocking Team Apple with the iPhone, iPad, iPod. If you've hitched your wagon up to Team Android, Google Play Store, the spot for you. Gotta download the app. As we jump into the topic of conversation here, Alabama, LSU preparing to do battle on Saturday, November 3rd, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This game is always fun. It's always intense. It's entertaining. It's electrifying. College football playoff implications on the line this time around. The Southeastern Conference Western Divisional crown up for grabs. Whoever wins this game will represent the West in Atlanta for a chance to compete and win a conference title. Just bitterness in recruiting, bitterness among the fan bases, bitterness among the coaching staffs. And though a lot of people have chosen to spun this topic in the area of the collusion conspiracy that is Devin White and the targeting call he had against Mississippi State, I'm going to spin this in a totally different direction due to, in my opinion, the whole collusion conspiracy thing is a cover-up for the actual problem. The problem being Tua Tagovailoa, Alabama's game-changing quarterback, has placed fear in the hearts of national media and LSU. There are a few members of national media that are enjoying what Alabama's doing, that are appreciating how the Tide is using Tua. Tagovailoa has not thrown an interception this season, has not played in a fourth quarter, just having fun out there. But there are some guys, some talking heads that cannot stand what's going on. And, national media was okay with Alabama having dynamic running backs. It was cool with the Crimson Tide having a stingy defense. It was okay with Alabama having pieces around the quarterback position. It was even all right with Alabama having a game-managing quarterback, seeing how everybody else had the game-changing signal caller, and national media felt as if we have a happy, a level playing field here. But the moment Nick Saban, this is what they greatly fear, never wanted Nick Saban to have his hands on a game-changing quarterback. But the moment Nick Saban got Tua, it's, oh my God, this is terrible. No. This is awful. They're cheating. The games are not competitive. They're not fun. College football's not enticing me. This is no longer entertaining. It's no longer worth watching. This is garbage. It's joyless murder ball. By the way, whoever came up with the term joyless murder ball, kudos to you, man. Get that term copyrighted as soon as you can. But that's national media. Griping, moaning, complaining. And honestly, when Florida had Tim Tebow, when Texas A&M had Johnny Manziel, when Auburn had Cam Newton, when more recently here, Clemson had Deshaun Watson, Oklahoma had Baker Mayfield, now it's got Kyler Murray. Even when Baylor had Robert Griffin III, the notion around college football was yes, this is sexy, this is awesome, love it, great for college football. Dynamic, dual threat, game-changing quarterback, put it on the board, I want it. If you don't have one, if you can't stop it, if you can't defend it, too bad, too sad, the joke's on you. But the moment Alabama gets one, it's, oh God, sweet dear baby Jesus and Mother Mary, this is terrible. This is awful. This is the worst thing since sliced bread. They're blowing teams out. There's no parity. There's no fun. There's no excitement. Boo-hoo-hoo. Look, this is the equivalent of you playing 2K, NBA Live, Madden, NCAA with your friends, whether it's the Xbox or PlayStation, whichever console you use. When you are beating your friend, when you are whooping down on your buddy, that's when the game is fun to you. When you are taking your buddy's butt to the woodshed, the game is awesome. You are turned up. It's exciting. Why? Because you're winning. The moment your friend gets your cheat codes, gets a hold of your tendencies, gets a hold on how you do things, and they start beating you, then the game becomes no fun anymore. Then you throw the TV out the window, you smash the controller against the wall, you kick the game console underneath the bed, you don't play the game for the next 6 months because your friend is beating you, and the game is no longer fun. National media is butthurt over the fact that Alabama has caught up to the rest of college football where having a game-changing quarterback is concerned, and they have not just caught up, they're doing it better than everybody else in college football. And if everybody else can enjoy their game-changing next-level quarterback, I'm just saying let Alabama enjoy what it has going on with Tua Tagovailoa. The Bama fatigue, the Bama hatred has been high for quite some time. The first 4 of 5 national championships were won by how Alabama usually wins them. Great defense, make his butt quit, strong run game to take the clock, quarterback play, hey, keep the car in the road. We're not going to ask you to take many shots. We're not going to ask you to win the football game. Don't be a hero, just be Clark Kent. Just keep the doggone car on the road. That's how they won the first 4 or 5 national championships. The 5th one was starting off like the other 4, but then the game-changing quarterback enters the picture, the one in which everybody felt like coming in was generational, and after he proves he's not a one-game quarterback, that he's putting up the numbers that he has thrown up this season, the more 2 recent fan bases in the Southeastern Conference, Tennessee and LSU, check out their response. Bama's got nothing to side from Tua. Tua's all they got. All Bama has is Tua Tagovailoa. You take Tua out, you hit Tua's knee, you injure him, you put your helmet on his knee, he's soft, he ain't tough, he ain't got the moxie. He ain't got the physicality. You put the helmet onto his knee, you end Bama's season, you end Bama's hopes. All they got is Tua. Wow. Talk about fear. Talk about putting fear in the hearts of the opponent when opposition is hating on you to the point to where its fan base is calling for you to be hurt. That's when you know you're doing something. That's when you know you're balling. Tua Tagovailoa balling, slinging those coconuts and pineapples to the medicated gall and the hurt of opposing teams out there. And I heard the most trash take on social media a couple of days ago this week. Don't remember who the guy was, but he basically said, aside from Tua, Alabama's talent is average. How? How, Sway? I mean, you big man. I mean, you talking about Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Irv Smith Jr., Damian Harris, Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, Brian Robinson, Jalen Hurts, Cedric Wills, Jonah Williams, Lester Cotton, Ross Pierce-Baker, Alex Leatherwood, the entire offense. You mean to tell me that out of everybody I just named, aside from Tua, Bama's average? Average? Nah, Bama's just ready to ball. Bama's just out there having fun on the football field. And just getting back to national media for just a moment here, I rarely ever watch the show College Football Live, but I caught a few clips of it this week, and the talking heads on there said LSU deserves to be the number one team in the country. I get the win against Georgia, and I'll explain that one in a minute, but the reasoning was their schedule is more competitive, they play more challenging teams, they've had better opponents, the games have been close, the games have been fun to watch, and two of the teams they mentioned, Auburn and Mississippi State. And the moment they said Auburn, I almost fell out of my chair. Almost hit my head against the floor because Auburn is the living, breathing heap of trash, living, burning heap of trash that nobody wants, that no one wants to get next to, that no one wants to be a part of, that no one wants to condone. I mean, you got players that anonymously want Gus Malzahn out. You have fans that have started a GoFundMe account to buy out Malzahn. You even have the administration staff that in the form of creative cussing is going, how in the Sam Hill are we going to deal with this $32 million buyout? I mean, Jay Jacobs has completely ninja torped our brain by giving this man the 7-year, $49 million extension. He halfway don't want to be here. I think he tanking the season because you didn't let him go to Arkansas when he wanted to, so he's just taking the money and going with it. But how are we going to deal with the $32 million buyout? Auburn, burning heap of trash. Jarrett Stidham, before the season started, was supposed to have been the Heisman Trophy winner, the first-round pick quarterback for the NFL 2019. Neither of those two are happening, but yet Auburn, quality team, LSU, should be the number one team in the country. And then they brought up Mississippi State. And I know Nick Fitzgerald played well in the win against Texas A&M, but let's be honest here. Nick Fitzgerald has always played well against teams that are not defensive stamped, that don't have the elite defenses, that are not defensive pedigree. I mean, you put Nick Fitzgerald against an Alabama, against an LSU, against teams that are defensive pedigree, Nick Fitzgerald's not going to do well. You put Nick Fitzgerald against Texas A&M, Kentucky, teams that are not defensive pedigree, though Kentucky's got a whole lot better. But you put, Nick Fitzgerald against programs that are not defense heavy, you get the numbers that he put up against Texas A&M. Aggies are growing under Jimbo Fisher. They're not there yet. Nick Fitzgerald is basically a more athletic Tim Tebow. Big, strong, great runner, not there overall as a passer. I mean, even Dan Mullen, somebody that was recognized as a quarterback guru, quarterback whisperer, quarterback mind. He has sat there and said, during his time of working with Fitzgerald before going to Florida, that the man was not an elite, was not a big-time passer. We like to take shots at Jalen Hurts and saying to him that he's not grown as a quarterback, that he's not improved as a passer, that he hasn't made the right decisions, but he sure is looking better than Nick Fitzgerald and Jarrett Stidham right now. You want to know why? Because he's got the quarterback cultivator in Dan Enos, and we have seen leaps and bounds of improvement with Jalen Hurts. But Mississippi State, quality win for LSU. Though they beat the Bulldogs 19-3, you beat State by 16, you only beat Auburn by 1, 22-21. You could have done more to take these teams to the woodshed than what you did. But, according to the talking heads out there, LSU deserves to be the #1 team in the country. For Devin White, I would like to see him play. I mean, free him. I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear nothing about we were shorthand, we were undermanned, we did not have our best guys or our best guy, especially when in 2017, Alabama was down 35 linebackers and had to depend on Keith Holcomb to get it through and still won a national championship. If Alabama can do that, LSU, you can deal one game without Devin White, but hey, we'll see what happens. The matchup is not even going to come down with Devin White. It's going to come down to, can LSU's game-managing quarterback, Joe Burrow, hang stride for stride with Alabama's game-changing signal caller, Tua Tagovailoa? And I don't think so. LSU only one 40-point game all year. Alabama's 6 50-point games, 2 60-point contests. In fact, the only times Alabama has not hit the 50-point plateau, 45 points against Texas A&M, 39 points against Missouri. But hey, Alabama, LSU, we'll see what happens. November 3rd, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, should be a very fun, entertaining matchup. This takes us to our first break here on In My Own Words, the podcast coming to you live here via studios. Don't touch that dial, folks. Just getting cranked up. Upon our return, I want to get into offensive lineman Deontay Brown. LSU prides itself on showing the nasty, on bringing that nastiness, that physicality on defense. I think this is the week we see the marquee breakout game from Deontay Brown at left guard, filling in for Lester Cotton. Why do I think that? Check it out on the other side of the break. You're listening to In My Own Words.